I'm Kathy Itzin, and I'd like to welcome you to another segment of Grace, Gratitude, and Generosity. Today, I'd like to talk about Lent because it's Lent, and it's the beginning of Lent, so it's on our minds. And Lent is not something people are all automatically attracted to. It's not the first, like, oh, yay, it's Lent, jump at Christianity, but it's an important time of reflection and growth. In fact, the word Lent means springtime, and that's why we have it now, as the days are starting to become lighter and a little longer. Of course, they fit with Easter. It's 40 days before Easter. In the early Christian community, Lent was the time that people who had been preparing for a year to be baptized at Easter intensified their efforts at prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And the rest of the Christian community wanted to embrace these people by fasting and almsgiving and prayer, intensifying their efforts along with them. And so that's why we emphasize these three things. Now, along with that, there's millions of other things that are important. But over the last couple hundred years, it's gotten reduced to, oh, I give up candy during Lent. Oh, I'm going to lose weight during Lent. And those are not bad things, but they've missed the meaning of what's important. So the real question for us is, how can I not only become a better person, but how can I grow in my relationship with the holy, and however that is? And then we look at ourselves, and how can I grow in my relationship with the holy? Do I need to become more generous? Do I need to become more self-reflective? Do I need to spend more time in prayer or improving relationships with those around me? Because that is where we mostly see the face of God, as well as creation. So the ancient practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, I think, can still be really healthy in many ways. And there's fasting from food, from something that we might be excessive in our use of, that's not healthy anymore, and that's something to look at. But there's other things to fast from. What things in our lives are contributing to a negative relationship or negativity among the earth, within the earth? Do I want to try and drop this cruddy habit that I have that, is driving somebody, my wife, my husband, my kids, crazy? But even the earth, what are things that I can fast from in terms of like a carbon footprint, my usage of all of the resources around us that's unhealthy in terms of the rest of the world? Do I eat way more meat and therefore use way more acres of land that's given to the grazing of cattle that could be used for planting crops, etc.? Do I want to try and avoid pesticides and go organic? Do I want to avoid plastic? That is a hard thing, not buying more plastic. You can do it, but it's really tough. Those are good things to look at. Do you need to fast from crazy uses of your time? In terms of money, almsgiving, we give gifts, we want to be generous, but it's a time to look at that as well. Are we actually giving to what we believe in? And are we giving an appropriate amount? Are we just kind of willy-nilly throwing it at whoever asks of us? Or it'd be an interesting observation, an interesting exercise to look at, where have I contributed in the last year? And is that an appropriate percentage that I want to give? And are those appropriate priorities? Or do I want to reevaluate that? And just like we evaluate how do we spend our time, it's good to reevaluate how do we spend our money occasionally. It might be giving more, it might be giving less. It might be shifting to different giving patterns altogether. And then prayer, of course. We have Lectio Divina, which is something here that we promote. What that is an ancient spiritual practice of looking at the text given to you and seeing what phrase jumps out at you, and then reflecting on, what about that why does it jump out at me? What does it say to me? Does it tell me I'm needing comfort? Is it challenging me somehow? What does that mean? And so it's a way of meditating on the scriptures. We will give those out like one a day to those who are interested, and you just need to let T. Michael or me know. Maybe you set time every day that you sit in quiet, and maybe you light a candle. Maybe you have something beautiful in front of you, something that reminds you of God, but a time every day to be quiet and listen to yourself and the voice of God speaking within. These are just some ideas. You can think of many others of your own. But the big thing is, how do you become closer in your relationship with God and others? Contribute to that. Have a good Lent.